All right, what's up, boys? This is like take 3. My girlfriend called me in the middle of my recording last night when I made this video. It was just like fucked my whole flow up. I forgot a few things, so I figured I'd come out here and re-record it. Ended up working out well. It's a beautiful day outside, so wanted to talk about a few things that I've learned over the course of this bulk that have made it the most productive bulk that I've ever had, to the point where I really wish I did a lot more of these things the last time that I bulked, because I've made more progress in 6 months than I did in an entire year and a half of bulking, the last time I did it. The way that I did it last time was good. This is just so much more productive overall. So first and foremost, bro, the perennial truth. Calorie surplus is king. It's obvious shit, but a lot of people don't want to do that because they have a perception that they'll get fat, they'll lose their aesthetics. Guys, look, I've been in a calorie surplus for 6 months. Over 6 months now. I still have a full six-pack. My jawline is still chiseled. I still have a Christmas tree on my back. I have vascularity everywhere. My aesthetics are only better because I'm bigger, you know what I mean? So for those guys that are, maybe on the younger side too, perhaps, that are around 5'11", 6 foot, even going into 6'1", 6'2", that weigh 160 pounds, 150, 140 pounds. If you gain 10 pounds and say like 6 of that is muscle, 4 of that is fat, or 6 of that is muscle, 2 of that is water, and 2 of that is fat, you're gonna look drastically better, and you're still gonna be lean, you know what I mean? So it's to the point, and here's another thing that may be helpful for you guys that have that body dysmorphia. To me, I can look at parts of my physique where I can say, yeah, I'm still lean, but I'm a little less lean than I was before. People's perception of me, because I'm bigger now and I'm still lean, is, dude, you're same level of leanness. That's to say, guys, like if you have a six-pack, you don't have a fat ass face, and you have veins, if you're a little less dick skin lean, no one fucking gonna notice besides you. You know what I mean? So just take that into account. Calorie surplus is king. Now, in terms of training, I've taken a lot of wisdom from, just being honest with myself, being honest with what my body responds to the best, and taking golden tidbits from the past, little kernels of wisdom from bodybuilders that weren't necessarily as street smart or book smart as we are now, but they understood training a little more intimately than someone who's only book smart would be able to. By that I mean just different things about muscle biasing, certain things you can do to your form to make sure that muscles get worked primarily over others, and just past all the biomechanics shit that I talk about in the final answer videos, which are great foundational pieces of information to have, but they don't cover every intricacy that you're gonna undercover and uncover by just getting in the weeds and training, doing. So specifically for me, what that looks like is just being honest with myself about what my strengths and weaknesses are, and selecting exercises not to move the most weight through these movement patterns, but to work the muscles the best. So specifically, we'll talk squat variations, like anything relating to the anterior chains, like the quads, adductors, things like that. Morning coffee. I got a little collagen in here. I can't say like fucking if it does anything, bro, but it fucking tastes good. Squat variations, anything relating to quads. For me, I'm a very hip dominant lifter. It's just, it is what it is. I'm a very hip dominant lifter. I lift a lot with my lower back, with my hamstrings, my ass. And although I would hit ATG on a lot of squat variations as I, transition into doing that, I didn't feel like I was getting the quad stimulus relative to the amount of like back fatigue that I was accruing. So I had to be honest with myself about what I was doing. And I was using every muscle possible to lift the weights instead of the muscles that I'm trying to get bigger. That's going to segue nicely into something that I want to talk about as well, which really helped me get a lot bigger, especially my legs. Carryover is a meme. You know, if carryover is your only barometer and thing that you look at with your exercise selection in terms of, you know, why you pick certain exercises, it's well-meaning, but you're missing the forest for the trees, in my opinion. And we'll just talk about front squats because that's something that I've really come into doing recently as well. Front squats are always an exercise that is, you know, misapplied, misunderstood, and very fucking shit on for no reason. So there's a few truths with front squats. They're not going to have the best carryover directly to a low bar squat. True indeed. However, if you're someone like myself that's very hip dominant and you're doing, like, you know, belt squats, leg press, hack squats, things like that, where you're doing them to work your quads, and when you end up watching the video and you end up using your hips as well, you're not doing the exercise for the purpose that you set out to do, that you intended for. Front squats are an exercise where you can employ them into your training programming, and it can turn anyone into a squat specialist, I like to say. So for me, as I said, I'm very hip dominant. Front squats force me to push my knees way forward in a way that I didn't think was possible for my build. I've said in the past, and I think in a video that was very popular actually, my exercise tier list, the one from 2020, not the new one, I said that front squats are only good for people who they're good for. You know, for the average gym bro that's not going to take the time to learn them, they're not a good exercise because you're not going to do them right. And I said a lot of other things about how they're not, you know, a good exercise to pick, you know, in place of a belt squat or a leg press or something like that. My thoughts have progressed with that movement specifically. Just because getting good at a front squat from a movement perspective is going to make you better at every other squat pattern motion that you have. To the point where, like, you know, for me, belt squats weren't something that I got the best stimulus out of for my quads because I was using my hips. But because now I'm much better at front squats, belt squats are a fucking amazing exercise. In fact, yesterday, I did belt squats and I was super upright. My knees flung way forward. I did them 1.5 style, so my quads were just fucking screaming at me, bro. I've never felt that on a belt squat before. Using a fucking fraction of the weight, or plate weight, you know what I mean, that I would usually load up. So I'd load up like fucking 8-9 plates, however many pounds that would be for sets of like 15, 20, you know what I mean? And I used way less weight and got a way better stimulus. That's just to say that you can look at movements for what they contribute to your overall training programming and not necessarily for their direct carryover to like your meat and potatoes. So it's a very easy concept to think about. This is where, you know, experience comes into play and doing shit comes into play and being honest with yourself. I've put, in the course of the last 6 months, over an inch or almost an inch on my quads. They're almost 25.5 inches now. You know, lean. I got veins in my quads still. So I'm very excited to get to 26 and a half, 27 inches, hopefully by the end of this bulk, you know, a year from now, and then we'll go from there. But segueing into, you know, another perennial truth that I have, my girlfriend still texted me. She wanted to know where I went because I kind of left without telling her what I was doing. Don't do that, guys. If you have a partner and you're leaving the house, tell them where you're going first. I'm sleepy. It was a long day yesterday. Machine exercises. Let's talk about that actually, because that's something that I started doing really, you know, 60-70% of the time in my training program. It's 60-70% machines. There's a post by a coach. His name's Carlos Reyes. I don't know if he's a coach. He's a power lifter. Used to be a strongman. Strong ass dude. bald-headed guy with a mustache. Sound familiar, right? I don't wear a mustache much these days, but my profile picture has a mustache and it's bald. Anytime he makes a post, he makes like blog style posts on Instagram with like training clips and things. Kind of like how I do, actually. But anytime he makes one of his posts, I take the time out of my day to read it 3 or 4 times, just because there's always some really good food for thought with the things that he posts. Give him a look on Instagram. His name is C Reyes something. You'll see it when you search it. But in this post in particular, he talked about machines and how, and this segues or symbiotically relates to the first point. But he talked about machines as a way to work the muscles that you're using in like a squat, for example, in a movement pattern that is removed from your squat so that you can push more training volume and actually work your muscles a little bit better. The lift or movement that you're best suited for, that you can lift the most amount of weight on naturally without any other, training to build the movement up, is likely a shit tier exercise for you. And if you pick mostly movement patterns that resemble that, you're going to beat yourself into the ground, quite truthfully. So, for sumo deadlifters, that's like if you're always training like squat motion patterns that work your lower back, that's where your lower back starts to fatigue. Your low bar squats start to bleed into your deadlift work, and it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? And then you pick your squat motion patterns and you're doing them like they're a low bar squat, and you're shooting your hips up and using your ass and your lower back to lift it and a little bit of quads, and you're really just beating the same movement pattern into the dirt. Machines, especially ones that lock you into a fixed range of motion, the kind that fucking, we've all said over the past 10 years are fucking bad for you, are the exact movement patterns that you may want to look at employing into your movement, into your movement selection. Just because, like a hack squat, for example. A hack squat is a really good fucking machine for me for building up my quads, specifically because it doesn't allow me to lift the weight with anything but my quads. I can't say that about very many other exercises. I can conscientiously modify my form to the point where I'm using straight quads, but a hack squat is the only machine besides a leg press that forces me to lift shit with my quads. You know what I'm saying? Some may argue, stabilizers and fixed range of motion and blah, 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 blah. That's a boomer take, in my opinion. If you're doing some form of barbell work, you're not going to lose, hypertrophy in your stabilizers or your ability to generate maximum force on a barbell. You're only just training the muscles more efficiently and being smarter with your training programming. And machines are a very unique opportunity to do that. I have replaced a lot of my barbell movements with machine movements, not all of them, of course, but filling in a lot of volume with these machine movements, and I'm way more fucking jacked for it. The results speak for themselves, bro. I'm fucking deezed. Not to suck my own dick or anything, but I'm a lot bigger than I was 6 months ago. So, like I said, it just, especially with my legs, it speaks for itself, and I'm going to continue to get bigger and more jacked and more stacked. Something in terms of my bench training, I guess I want to talk about as well. It's kind of like honesty hour. It's somewhat of a bro talk, somewhat of me just giving you intel. After I hurt my pec, anytime I really hurt myself, and it was a non-training related incident, anytime I hurt myself or anything, tweaks or anything like that, I'm forced to take a step back and look at my training because I have to dial it back anyway. And that allows me to create like a better long-term plan, I guess you could say. Something that I really, really like doing with my bulks is I like to move away from, training to lift the most amount of weight possible and move pretty much primarily into being a Johnny bodybuilder, you know what I'm saying? So with bench variation specifically, bench is a good hypertrophy exercise for me because my arms are very long, my torso is very narrow, like my rib cage, and I don't use an arch at all, really. So, but I thought to myself, okay, how could I make this an even better hypertrophy exercise? Do it close grip, and instead of using a 50-50 pause, use a t-shirt touch pause. I've been t-shirt touching or t-shirt touch pausing, either one, all of my bench training, all of my chest pressing variations for the past 6 months, moving my grip in. At first, it was a big difference in loading. It felt much harder. I felt like, is this worth it? You know what I'm saying? But I feel dramatically stronger now on chest pressing variations. To the point where if I took some time to move my grip back out and, use leg drive and things like that, I would mog myself from 6 months ago into oblivion. I won't put any numbers out there because, but I feel dramatically stronger to the point where, like, I could definitely easily lift the weights that I lifted 6 months ago, wide grip and with that 50-50 pause to lift the most weight. I could easily lift those loads. And it's because I did things that were harder through larger ranges of motion. That's the name of the game, in my opinion. That's how you don't waste your bulk. Focus on getting fucking jacked. You can get strong whenever, dude. Gain some fucking muscle mass. A couple more things I want to talk about. Really quickly, just the cardio piece. Cardio, specifically low intensity cardio, is not just for weight loss. Again, that's another boomer take, in my opinion. It's always the broke dick boomer powerlifters that haven't had fucking visible abdominals since they were 20 years old and blasting a gram of gear that always say that low intensity cardio is going to kill your gains. How? You tell me how it's going to kill your gains, because when I do low intensity cardio, when I hop on that assault bike and I remember how the assault bike Chad mogged me into oblivion and I pedal that bitch and beat the street like a redheaded stepchild, get my fucking steps in, dude, my energy levels go up, my work capacity goes up, my recovery goes up, I warm up more quickly and more efficiently, even on an upper body day. None of those things are directly hypertrophying my muscles, but they all allow hypertrophy to flow better. You tell me where that's killing my gains. Respectfully, you broke dick boomer, I'd probably bench your deadlift. Probably Larson press your deadlift. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. This isn't speaking to anyone in particular. It's just like, this is just a common broke dick boomer powerlifter take. Low intensity cardio is gonna kill your gains. Shut the fuck up. Man. Specifically, cardio that you find fun is going to be very fruitful to your training, guys. I didn't mean to go hard on those broke dick boomers like that, but they really piss me off because they say shit wrong with so much conviction. Might be the fucking gallon of coffee I just drank too that got me fucking litty titty, but cardio is really good for gains. Do your cardio. Conditioning, really good as well. So my conditioning now in a heavier state is better than it was when I was lighter. Specifically doing things like supersets, giant sets, and just including like the assault bike in between like my first few exercises. So like in my rest time where I otherwise would be sitting down, I'm just getting on that guy and using that assault bike, you know what I mean? And that could be for, 5 to 6 sets of 3 minutes or however long I'm resting. For my first exercise, it's usually like 4 or 5 minutes. But really easy way to fit that conditioning in while also, keeping it in the constraints of one workout and not having to turn it into 2 separate things. Really, really good, guys. It's as important as drinking water and electrolytes, in my opinion. Do your fucking cardio. One more thing I think I want to touch on. One more quick thing. I know I keep saying one more thing, but, I'm kicking it to you guys. This is another bro talk. I enjoy coming out here and sharing intel. I know enough to know that I know nothing, and I know that when I discover new things, I want to share that with, my audience. So, because I want y'all to get jacked and stacked too. I want you to get fucking D's and be able to sit out on a pool deck with your fucking watermelons out like a fucking Chad. Because you're all Chads in my books. For the most part, most of y'all. Some of y'all are Giga Chads. You know who you are. My training split. We'll talk about that. It's still upper lower. I don't fit my training in 7 days anymore, just because I've found that my recovery is so much better And then I'm so much more excited, specifically for my fucking lower body days, dude. I do so much fucking volume. I do so many exercises. And that's just what I need to get better at this point, because I'm so deep into this training shit that, like, I need a certain amount of volume to continue to get bigger and stronger. So what I'll do is I'll lay it out, you know, so it's upper, lower, rest, upper, rest, lower, rest, rest. Or I may do upper, rest, lower, and then, you know, the same. Those extra rest days really just make everything better, bro. Like, they make the upper body days better because I'm less fatigued from my previous lower body day. They make my lower body days better because my adductors don't fucking feel like they're held together by shoestring and that they're gonna fucking detach off the bone at any time, because I do so much training volume that I need to do to get better. And on top of that, dude, I'm really doing my due diligence with, like, my movement prep as well. So track back to that video that I made, warm-ups to avoid Snap City, I think it was called. That was all my movement prep, bro. So I'm doing, you know, my pump work, I guess you could say. And there's gonna be some fucking Sammy sausage head that'll say, well, won't getting a pump before your training workout reduce performance? Scale the pump to your level. So, like, for example, if you bench a plate, don't get a pump with a fucking plate or 25 pounds. Like, take the bar, you know what I'm saying? Or even less than the bar, maybe. Get like 15-pound dumbbells and just bang that out for sets of 30. Just get blood flowing through your chest and triceps and your shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Do the same with some fucking rows. I do that every pressing workout, faithfully. Every lower body workout, faithfully. I open up with a quick assault bike session. I open it up with doing the fucking good girl, bad girl machine. And if you feel like a fucking less of a man by doing that, maybe you are less of a man, because me, I'm doing that. I'm getting fucking jacked and stacked and fucking ripped. So you tell me, you know what I'm saying? So do the good girl, bad girl machine. I've been doing that quite a lot. Really not for hypertrophy, but more so, like I said, just to get blood flowing through your adductors and your ass. Pause. Oh man, coffee got me lit, bro. But yeah, just blood flow work is very important. I've been doing my due diligence for that. Little, not a quick one, but something, you know, very vital that I wanted to mention to you guys. The last thing, this is kind of just another perennial truth to end things off. Since I started off with like a word of encouragement, you know, some truth, I'm going to give y'all some more truth as well. Weighted calisthenics only continue to get better as you gain body weight. I'm sorry, guys. Like, day to day or week to week or even month to month fluctuations in body weight do not impact your weighted calisthenics to the point where you really need to worry about it. What you need to worry about is, am I eating in a way that is conducive to generally getting bigger and stronger, i.e. a surplus? If you're not in a surplus, bro, I don't know how you expect to get better at weighted pull-ups or weighted dips. Oh, well, if I gain a pound or 5 pounds of fat, that'll mean 5 pounds that I can't put on the dip belt to do my weighted pull-ups. And trust me, coach, I weigh 160 pounds and I have a 1 rep max of 70 pounds on the weighted dip. That's exactly why you have a 1 rep max of 70 pounds and why you're not getting to the level that you want to be at. 70 pounds is a hell of a milestone, bro, but you could be putting on a full plate, you know, 3 plates per side or 4 plates, you know what I'm saying? If you entered that calorie surplus, if you gain 5 pounds, most of that is going to be like contractile tissue, glycogen, and water, and some of it is going to be fat. Half of what the good shit is going to be muscle, and the rest of it's going to be glycogen and water, which is going to make your leverages better. You're going to be able to like lift 25 more pounds of plate weight by gaining 5 pounds of body weight. Dude, that's a net plus of 20 pounds as opposed to you gaining like a pencil neck and you don't put on anything. You know what I'm saying? Or you put on 5 fucking pounds. And this is why you don't weighted pull up 100 pounds for a 1 rep max when you really, really want it. Gain 5 pounds and get jacked and stacked, bro. It's okay. Like, you're not going to be worse off for that. I have made all-time PRs just you know, generally training my back, generally getting bigger, not even fucking doing weighted calisthenics, to be honest with you. This is another, like, perennial truth that I want to give you guys. Sometimes the best accessory, again, to speak to the pure carryover meme, is something that has nothing to do with what your competition movement is. Lat pull downs, chest to bar, great fucking weighted pull-up accessory. Seal rows, chest supported rows, barbell rows, they get your back generally bigger and stronger. Great fucking accessory. Straight on pull downs, great fucking accessory. If your arms are on the stubbier side, I'm not a short guy. You know, bicep curls could be a good choice for you. Filling up your movement selections with things categorically and not just trying to do only pull-ups to get better at pull-ups. That's like doing only deadlift to get better at deadlift. That doesn't work unless like you're a fucking Lily Bridge. You know what I'm saying? Like you're really, really built for that shit. Those that don't know who Lily Bridges are, they're fucking real life. What the fuck is that Pokemon's name? Not Geodude. The middle form of Geodude. I think it's Graveler. They look like fucking real life Gravelers. They're fucking enormous and they have rocky heads. But unless you're really built for a lift, that's not gonna work. And it's like when you say that and you apply it to bench press, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But when you say it about weighted calisthenics for some reason, it's like you're speaking Chinese to the guy. Do your variations, do your accessories, extended range of motion. I think that's where we're going to leave things off here for today. Like I said, I just wanted to come drop a bunch of golden tidbits. Very conversational, no script or anything like that. I'll probably forget something that I wanted to mention and just mention it in the comments or maybe in another video or something. I hope y'all are having a great day. If you're not, have the best day that you can. I'll see y'all later.